Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vance.
I'm Batman, but not really.
We've got Chris.
You save?
And I'm Kia. Welcome to the show. Yeah, that's right. We're doing some Batman comics today. So last time on the show we did the Kurt Busiek Superman Secret Identity, which is about a person in the real world named Clark Kent. And he hates Superman because people are always making fun of him for it. And then he gets powers, and it's all about that. What year was that from? Like 2004, 2005, something like that. In 2017, many years later, he did the same thing for Batman. It's called Batman Creature of the Night. It's a 4-issue series with art by John Paul Leon. So we're talking about that. And then we're continuing our long read of Thunderbolts. We're on number 19 now. We got Charcoal, the Burning Man, the winner of the Wizard Create a Villain contest. Can't wait.
Digital art at its finest.
But let's jump into Batman here. So I don't know how much I guess we're going to compare a lot more to Superman by the end of it here, but this does already start pretty differently. We've got narration that is starting from this version of Alfred, which is God, we gotta go backwards even more. We don't even have a Bruce Wayne in this. We got a Bruce Wainwright.
Yeah, and check out our last episode, which was like a kid named Clark Kent, where Superman's a comic book in the real world, and then Clark Kent gets superpowers just like Superman.
Trying to figure it out.
And by Kurt Busiek, very good comic. This is the same, but with Batman. A kid named Bruce Wainwright is gonna probably have a similar Batman origin and have some type of Batman type thing happen.
Yeah. So he is not he doesn't have rich parents. They're pretty, fairly normal parents. This kid is obsessed with Batman. He loves Batman comics. He's got this Batman bowl. He'll do, he just can't get enough of it. He's got an uncle named Alan Frederick Jepson, but Alan Frederick is close enough. Oh, sorry, you're right.
The
Alton
lettering
Frederick,
is
thank you.
The lettering is a choice. The guy who's narrating through most the Alfred equivalent, he's doing a cursive lettering. It's similar to Batman Year One with dueling narration, where Bruce narrates and I think Commissioner Gordon narrated for that in cursive. And I cannot read this cursive. It was really hard to read for me.
It wasn't that bad, but it did definitely slow me down. It's I really got to look at these letters and figure out what's happening here. Yeah, it was not a fan.
I know that my son, I don't even know if he knows how to read cursive. I don't know if they even teach it anymore. I don't think they do. So. This will be inscrutable to him, literally.
Yeah. But he's always asking his uncle Alan Frederick, who Alton Frederick, to call him. He calls him Alfred because that's cute, and he's fine with it. And he always asks his uncle to call him Master Bruce, and that seems a little weird, but okay.
We did do that for my son Bruce for a little bit, call him Master Bruce. Luckily, we have not been murdered yet. Thank goodness.
Not yet.
There's still time. There's always time, right?
My panel of the week here is Halloween night. Little Bruce Wainwright is dressed up as Batman with those shitty plastic masks and the costume that says Batman on the chest. God, What a horrible costume! But it's
with the Bat logo, like a Captain America logo on the top of the plastic mask.
Yeah,
just
great.
So you wouldn't, you wouldn't confuse it.
Yep, it's inspired.
Mom looks so bored for his trick or treating. She looks so over this shit.
And God, what a sad last way to spend your night, dragging your kid around trick or treating. Oh my goodness.
In Boston.
Ugh. Yeah, they're in Boston. There is a line in there about how he really he felt like Boston was really more of a Gotham, Gotham is supposed to be New York, but so is Metropolis, and Superman's got that kind of covered. So Boston, that feels like his Gotham. I kind of, that's a cute little touch.
Sure.
So they're getting home from Halloween, and the door is kind of ajar or whatever, and there's jewelry robbers in there, and they kill his parents, shoot him, and they shoot him as well, but he does not die. He ends up in a coma for about 2 months. And this is kind of where we get the first glimpse of somebody doing Christmas quotes there about safe, you safe. Yeah. But he wakes up a couple months later. This cop is asking him questions. Officer Gordon Hoover. His first name's Gordon, not his last name.
What a coincidence.
Big coincidence. And he,
He lives on Sesame Street.
And little kid Bruce is just like, sorry I didn't see anybody, don't know what they look like. He kind of, they take him to the grave afterwards. They already had the funeral, and
I thought that was pretty sad. They were like, look, we can't, he was in a coma for 2 months. We're going to have the funeral. He's going to miss it. I thought, I was like, that kind of sucks.
That does suck. And then his uncle's like, he couldn't really come live with me. Like my lifestyle just isn't really suitable to a young guy. And I'm like, you know what? That makes sense.
Well, it's very gay coded. They don't explicitly say it for a couple more issues.
But then I did like that there was also a little bit of like, well, is that on purpose, or is it like, because they kind of seeded a little bit. Like there was a period at the end of this issue where I was like, is the uncle Batman? And that would kind of explain why so much of the narration is also his. So part of me was almost waiting for that, but it never came.
Yeah. I did think like the uncle was going to be Batman. I did think that was going to happen.
Well, I knew.
I was like, he seems like he the way he's dressing in the 60s and 70s. I'm like, this guy, and like he only has guy friends, like old guy friends. Like he is definitely gay. And in the closet, at least with his rest of his family. Yep. Is he family with them, or is he just like a good family friend?
He's like his great uncle.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
His grandfather's younger brother, I assume.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. So Bruce is now just like, he's in a really bad place. He's still obsessed with comics. Like, oh my God, if Batman had been real, he would have been able to save all this, stop it from happening. They send him off to some boarding school, and he doesn't want to be there. He's crying out for Alfred not to leave him, get into fights and all that. He still gets to see Alfred every once in a while, and his favorite thing to do is like go to the zoo and look at the bats there. And they go to the bats, and it seems like what happens is the bats like just kind of swarm out of the glass, and they break the glass and kind of like swarm around him. And so everyone thinks that he's the one who broke the glass, and they're like, no, the glass is on the inside. It's a clue. All that stuff. And then he goes to sleep, and like there's visions of like a Batman kind of going around like slashing people. And he wakes up, and he's kind of like, it wasn't a dream. Like he could kind of tell it was happening. He can, as the issues go on, he says that like he can see out of the Batman's eyes. He sees he knows his memories, all that kind of stuff. He doesn't really understand it, but he feels like there's a weird connection to him. And little by little, this happens more and more. He's constantly following up with Officer Hoover, I should say, trying to say, hey, did they ever find the guy? He's like constantly following up on it, which I imagine has to be very annoying for a cop. Like, hey, did you find the guy who killed my parents yet? No. Okay.
Did you do that job that you gave up on, and you're actually not doing that project anymore because you stopped doing it 6 months ago? Yeah. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was this issue or the next issue where he tells him like, well, if we get lucky and there's like another case that has a similar thing, then maybe we can connect the dots. And Bruce is like, that's fucked up, man. Like, like if you get lucky, that means like another person's going to get murdered, and that'll give more evidence into my parents' murder. It's a strange way to phrase it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then at night, there's more Batman action. The thugs are, shooting at Batman. Batman is asking, like, robbery, 2 dead, who did it, that kind of stuff. And they keep, like, all these people are turning themselves in. They're so terrified of this Batman. They're talking about this creature or whatever that they've seen. But they're all, like, giving this other name that's, like, connected. And so that's what Bruce hears as well. And so he's like, all right, I'm going to look into this guy, and goes and attacks him, gets that guy to turn himself in. And then the next day they call him from the precinct, and they're like, hey, we want you to come, like, see if you recognize any of these people. And he doesn't actually recognize this guy from like the night of the murder, but he does recognize him from Batman attacking him the night before. So he's like, yeah, I know it's that guy. And so he says, yeah. Even though he does feel a little guilt, he feels like incomplete, like maybe it wasn't him, maybe something feels wrong. And he's up on.
It does look like him from earlier in the issue.
I think it is him. I think it all, it makes sense. but they do have that little bit of doubt, or at least he's got a little bit of doubt within himself, of just like not being sure. I do. So this towards the end of this book, he's up on the roof, just kind of sitting up there brooding, and all these leaves are flying by. And I really do like the way the leaves kind of look like bats and start to turn into bats. I really like these touches, and I think the overall design of the Batman in this is really cool.
I think Paul Leon draws the shit out of this book.
He really does. Yeah,
like,
that's great.
When last time we were talking about like what's he from? He did Static Shock, the original issues of Static Shock. He also did
Earth X, yeah,
which we didn't remember. He passed away pretty quickly after doing this book. He was undergoing chemo the entire time he was doing this book, and so it was delayed for like 2 years. But he died in 2021, and this finished in 2019, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he draws the shit out of this book, though. He's a really
he really did. It does. And compared to Static Shock and Earth X, like I remember those two books looking like kind of muddy.
Yeah.
Which might have been like the Inker's style or whatever. These are so much more like they're very crisp, and I think they look great for sure.
Yeah.
He's also inking his own stuff too.
Yeah.
And I want to say
it looks really good.
Yeah. I want to say DC had really shitty paper back then, although Marvel, Earth X was just like kind of like an odd like tonal choice with that art style and what the book they were doing.
I think Earth X looks good. We were just bored by that.
Yeah. And then like this Batman also like he's got like a bat head kind of, which I kind of like on this Batman, and like very clawy hands, long pointy ears. I love it.
It's a little Batman Beyondy, but as a monster.
Yeah.
It is, like I think Kurt Busiek has, really internalized. There's some, I forget like what the source of it was, but there was some like status quo in the 80s where they're like, oh, like no one's ever taken a picture of Batman. Like he's an urban legend. And he's just like, well, that doesn't really make any sense because Batman's been around and like has helped all these people. So really it only works if he's like a vampire or a ghost or something. And so in Astro City, his Batman type is a vampire, and here it's a ghost.
Yeah.
Oh, because vampires can't be photographed. Interesting.
Yep.
Oh, clever! I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember reading. It was like Batman War Games or something. It was like a 23-parter across all the Batman books, and he revealed himself for the first time, and they took a picture, and it was like a big splash page, and I was like, okay, I don't care why. And then they explained it. I'm like, that still doesn't make any sense to me. There's no way this Batman has never not been photographed in 20 years of comics. Like, that's impossible. It is goofy though, like in the Matt Reeves movie, the Robert Pattinson one, where he's like walking with a crime scene full of police officers, like helping with the detective work. Like that is a little silly to me.
Yeah,
that's a little too much public for Batman. I don't like that either. So
yeah. Batman, it turns out, is kind of silly, but so this is trying to
what? I love it though.
Trying to make it, I guess, a realistic version of like, what if he was a ghost or something?
I think a literal ghost.
I'm telling you, this is why the Val Kilmer, George Clooney Batmans were the best. Lean into the silly, people. Lean in. All right. Where were we here?
I do love Batman Forever. I'm not gonna leave that hanging. I do love that movie.
All right, so Batman comes up and visits Bruce on the roof, asking him if he's safe there, and Bruce just like he feels like he's not alone anymore. This is like his protector that he wished for. Still doesn't fully understand it, but he asks his uncle for a police radio scanner for his birthday, for Christmas or something, and it's setting him down this path. Anything about this first issue before we jump to issue 2? Do a little time jump.
I like it. I don't know if we said that explicitly that Bruce also starts narrating.
Yes, thank you. Yeah,
which I like. I think the art is really good. It's got an interesting mystery. It is not like Superman's secret identity. There's something else going on with this book.
Yeah.
But I'm liking the pieces so far. I think there's enough compelling going on. But I don't think it's as instantly interesting as Superman secret identity. But I'm really liking like the art style and the tones for it and where it's going to go. So that's where I'm at.
I really like the art. I do think like part of it is DC universe or whatever, Infinite. They include ads But when I see it and it's like 54 pages or whatever, I'm like, come on, this doesn't need to be that long.
Right.
No.
Although there's a lot,
Yeah.
and the ads look terrible. Like every single book that I feel like DC advertises in its comic books look like just insanely terrible. Like every single one of them of this era. I'm sure they published good books, but the ones they're advertising don't look good.
It was sad. I saw Christopher Priest's Justice League being advertised. I was like, oh, it's just, comics, there's a lot of sadness. We just lost Peter David last week.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. So it's just like, you're just like, man, and we're reading, John Paul Leon, who passed away. And then they're like, oh, enjoy this book by Christopher Priest. And you're just like, oh boy. I mean, he's alive.
Yeah.
But I think he's had some health problems too.
I think they try to set up like some type of like union or like health insurance plan for these contract workers because they're all contract workers. I'm not exactly sure what their insurance looks like, but it's probably not good. I didn't realize Peter David died. R.I.P. I loved his Hulk books. Sound fine.
Yeah, it's very sad. We covered some of his Hulk stuff. Have we covered his X Factor ever?
Neither of his X Factor runs. We may have covered the. Did we cover the earliest X Factor run? I don't think so. That's with like Havoc and stuff, right?
Yeah, the 90s one.
Yeah.
I love that, even though the art sucks.
Right. And then there was
no offense to Larry Stroman, whose work I generally like, but it's 90s art.
Yeah. And then there was the mid 2000s one that he was like kind of like a mystery organization where like detective organization with like Multiple Man, and that Multiple Man Madrox comic I really liked. I really liked that.
Was
Madrox
great.
Mini. That was.
Did you know he created Space Cases on Nickelodeon?
Oh, I loved Space Cases.
So did I. I was thinking about that separately from anything.
That's crazy.
A little while ago.
Yeah, it's very sad. I always remember him, of course, from the contest that Marvel had about whether Captain Marvel or Marvel was a better because the I guess the editor in chief at the time of Marvel was like, Peter David, he writes like one good issue a year, and the rest of it's all crappy fill-ins. I could do that.
All right. Well, yeah. R.I.P. Peter David. We'll have to do some Peter David stuff again soon. But let's get back on track here for now. We're jumping into issue 2. We do a little time jump, similar to the way the Superman comic did a time jump between each issue, kind of doing a different era of that Clark Kent's life. This one I thought was going to be the same, but after this time jump, it kind of just goes in a more linear fashion, sticking with this time frame for the most part.
It is like Bruce Wayne is like, it's just like in all the Batman media. Bruce Wayne is like 29 years old to like 35 years old forever.
Yeah, pretty much. He's at Harvard now, majoring in business. He's reading old Batman comics on a bench and has a meet cute with a girl named Sharon. He's rich now. He's got Wainwright Investments. Forbes even called him a boy wonder, which had me wondering why he's even going to school if he's already got this thing. But then we realized, okay, it's his uncle started this. All right.
Yeah. It is kind of crazy because in the first issue, Alfred in narration is like, he's not like Bruce Wayne. He's not super rich or anything. But I guess between like life insurance and all and like investments, and it's also the 60s, they've managed to like, and we also find out there's another secret reason he makes so much fucking money.
Yeah. Very successful investment firm. And he seems pretty comfortable with his Batman relationship right now. He's saying like, hey, he and I busted this operation a few nights ago, that kind of stuff. They never mention any Batman stuff in the papers. He's saying even the Inquirer never runs, and like, his secretary thinks it's stupid that he's got a subscription to the Inquirer, but he's always wanting to check in on this. And he's like, I wonder if like there's pressure from DC to like sue them to like not say Batman or anything. That makes sense.
I assume this is a joke about Batboy.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
Yeah, that was like a long-running hoax.
Yes, that makes sense. Bad boy. Let's see. He's kind of working at that investment firm alongside going to school. His uncle wanted to meet with him. He said, "Hey, this investment that you wanted the board to like invest in Pennyworth, whatever." It's like the board wasn't really seeing it. Well, they just became a big success. Their competitors like lost a bunch of product because some ship crashed, and so now these guys, Pennyworth, are making a bunch of money. And he's like, "Well, I just really like the name." But Alfred could also still tell that Bruce like hasn't gotten over things. And he's doing his typical Batman stuff. He's got a good love life. He goes to the roof to talk to Batman every now and then, and kind of he still doesn't know where he's coming from, but Batman's always asking, "Are you safe?" And he's like, "Yeah." Um, and Bruce is asking him like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, there's just so much." Okay, all right, Ghost Bat. uh, and he's like again thinking like I can see through his eyes, like experience everything that he sees and hears. Sometimes he'll stay asleep while he's out there. Sometimes he'll wake up and kind of follow along with him. He's kind of like Batman is seeing what Alfred's up to as well, leading his own private life. And this is when Bruce realizes that Alfred's gay, and that like at first he held a lot of resentment toward his uncle to be like, why wouldn't he like let me live with him and like let me be around him? And then he realized like, oh, I see what he was dealing with. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and he does like tell him he knows when Alfred is like, I don't know if we should invest in this black guy's modems.
Yeah, and he's like, well, like, come on, man.
Like, how would you like it if people were prejudiced against you for your thing? And he's just like,
Yeah. Bruce also comes to him for a meeting, wanting to do something kind of idealistic. He's like, hey, have we made enough money that I can like waste some of it on something personal? But he wants to do something for victims that aren't as lucky as he was. He wants to start like a foundation. He got the idea from a Batman comic where Bruce Wayne did the same thing. And Alfred, we keep calling him Alfred. His name's not Alfred, but I don't remember his real name. Alton?
Mm-hmm.
Alden. Whatever.
Alton. Alton Brown.
Thank you.
Got their kitchen.
He's not trying to change the world, just trying to like, Alfred's like, okay, we can start with one kid. And he's like, good. He already had someone in mind. There's a girl in the paper named Robin whose parents have been shot. So he's like, yeah, of course I had to. She's like 14 years old, no other living relatives. So Bruce is like, I know it'd be weird if I like actually tried to get involved. So like, I just want the foundation and do stuff for her and let the other people do all the publicity stuff. I didn't even want to meet her. And then here, yeah, they have that meeting with the black owner who's making modems, having a good business plan, has that conversation with his uncle about how he knows. They expand the program, add 4 more kids, but Robin's still not doing well, and so he really wants to help her. Goes to the officer and kind of Officer Gordon, Officer Hoover, yeah, bribes him to kind of look at the case files for this girl's dead parents. And yeah, I guess the story with these parents is that they were going to the theater, ended up in Charleston, and got killed in an alley there somehow. No new info really that he's able to find in the files, but he does make a comment to the officer about how like, hey, Batman sure could help with this. And Officer Hoover's like, what? What are you talking about? What do you know? He's like, hey, I'm just obsessed with Batman. Sorry. But ever since then, it feels like they're looking at him like they think this guy knows something about Batman. It's weird. Maybe that's later. But Bruce keeps doing his own investigation into all this and realizes that the neighbors of the parents own some dry cleaning business, and the mob was like pressing on them, and they killed his neighbors to put more pressure on him. Is that the idea here? I kind of read that pretty quickly. It felt a little convoluted, but I was like, okay, that's fine. And they take care of that, I guess, and gets the girl some closure. And at some dinner party, the modem thing is a big success. The modem company's competitors got arrested for drug trafficking, which made them an even bigger success. Crazy. And Robin comes to talk to him and like wanted to meet him to thank him for everything, and says, I want to work for your company and like help people too. Cool. Detective Hoover's there too, and he says, hey, this whole all that drug trafficking evidence against the competing modem company, turns out it was fake. It was swiped out of an evidence locker somewhere completely different and planted on him. And I know that you're willing to bribe cops, and I know that you really benefited from this, and this worked out real nice for you. So, we're keeping an eye on you. That's when they start keeping an eye on him. Yeah. Makes sense. And so he's like, Bruce is just confused. He talks to Batman, looks through all the memories, and kind of realizes like all the catastrophes were caused by Batman. Like he caused the ship to crash, which like made Pennyworth more valuable. He planted the drug trafficking stuff on this other guy. Even the Inquirer not printing about him is because he showed up and said, "Don't fucking print anything about me." And Batman's like, "Yeah, it's all true. I had to make it right. I had to make it fair and keep you safe." And Bruce yells for him to go away, and he disappears. Whoa. Is Batman evil? Is Ghost Batman evil? What is this Batman? Still don't know. I guess we can just continue going here. Stop me if if y'all want to talk about anything else. But Bruce is going through a rough patch now. Alfred's narrating again. I feel like it goes a while sometimes without Alfred narrating. That every time it would come back to him with that cursive, it would be almost a little jarring. I'd be like, oh yeah, I forgot shit.
Yeah.
He asks Robin if he's seen Bruce, and she's like, no, not in a few weeks. And now Robin starts narrating. Just a little bit, though. I don't know if it was worth it because it's very little, and it's few and far between. She just narrates a few times. It didn't feel necessary, but okay. We got 3 narrators now. And she's thinking she owes Bruce, wishes she could help with whatever's going on. All right. Batman is operating a little bit more publicly. The cops are kind of hunting him more regularly. He's just kind of not scared to be more out in the open. Plus, he also just like disappears in a flurry of bats. Kind of cool. Bruce does like to stay in the open himself, though, so they can see like Batman's not him. He's not contacting him. He's not giving him any orders. Nothing. They're not being anywhere close to where he turns up. He does say he still talks to him on the roof at night, which I imagine they would probably see at some point. But
right.
Okay.
But I'm still at the point where like, is this Batman like? What is this thing?
Yeah, it can like other people can see him.
Yeah, so and he's and like in terms of reality testing, like he does influence other people, so he can't be like just like a pure like psychosis, like hallucination,
right?
Kind of concept. Like other people are aware of the Batman, but it's not like Bruce like losing time at the same time.
Right, and he's also like able to see through his eyes and see these memories. Which could like be like you're crazy, but like I don't know.
Sometimes
it's all
because usually sometimes when that happens, like it's a narration, like I didn't realize that. Like I'm gonna spoil Fight Club. Sorry. Like
what?
Like, yeah, whoever Tyler Durden might actually be, it's Ed Norton. Like he's acting through him. Like at that same time, like and then they show like the clips, like you were actually the one doing those lines. Like that's not happening because it's clearly like I was here publicly when the Batman was doing these events. So like. Narratively, I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? We're gonna get an answer in just a second, but like that is a big question at this point for me.
But he does kind of like realize that like he can manifest Batman like a guardian angel whenever he wants, but he still doesn't understand it. He's been trying to take down the mob, but like other people keep springing up. They keep doing shit from prison, whatever. Like he's getting frustrated with it.
Every time he kills like a mob leader, it just like another mob leader comes in and like takes over, and they're infinitely worse.
Right. And so he wants to like bring Robin and Uncle Alfred in on this. He brings them up to the roof. He tries to call for Batman to show them. And he's yelling and yelling and nobody shows up. And so, of course, they're just like, yeah, Bruce, you okay? And he, he starts exploring mystic options to kind of try and figure out what this is. He tries to set up a meeting with Officer Hoover to tell him, like, hey, I don't know.
He knows by this point now, I think. By the time he gets the mystic stuff, he knows what's going on. He knows. Does he? I think he does, because he saw, like, the extra grave, right?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
You're talking about, he meets, like, another specific mystic person later, yeah.
Okay,
you're talking about he's been exploring some general options. He's just trying to...
He does go to his parents' graves, and it's like, hey, there's another grave here.
Yeah, he's about to do that in a second.
I got tripped up on my pages when I was flipping through. Yeah,
that's all right. That's all right. There is a few things in this book that it does feel padded. Like, did he need to go visit some mystic people first, then get some more information, then go visit a specific mystic person? I don't know.
Right. That's why I completely forgot about the first mystic.
Yeah. He tries to meet with Officer Hoover to tell him, like, hey, I don't know anything about this Batman guy. like I do have this weird connection with him, and I think I can get him to help you. And the officer's like, it sounds like you're aiding and abetting. And he's like, no, like I really can't tell you anything that would help you catch him at all. Like, I think he's a good guy and I think I can get him to help. But that just makes the officer more suspicious. And he's like, well, shit, that didn't work. And then he goes to talk to his parents' grave and he sees a third name there, Thomas Henry Wainwright, who died on Bruce's birthday, like birth date, like the day Bruce was born. And he goes to ask his uncle Alfred, and he's like, "Oh yeah, like you have a stillborn twin brother." And Bruce really starts like considering this, like, is this my brother Thomas? And he goes to an author. He goes to this other specific mystic person and poses as an author, saying he's writing a book about something similar to this whole idea. And it's like, hey, is there anything like, is this founded in anything that like a ghost could come back and help a family member like that, like a twin brother? What form would the ghost take? And she's like, yeah, well, any sort of living totem that the brother could trust. And it's like, would a pop figure make sense? And he's like, well, like pop figures weren't really around when these old folk tales were written, but it does kind of make sense, like any kind of figure of renown. I
mean, their head will be so large it'll look strange, but
yeah. Oh wait, are you talking about literal totems? I see. I'm
talking about the little, the little tchotchke toys.
Oh, those pop. I see. Damn it. Funko Pops. I feel like old folktales should have Funko Pops in them. That would be like a rewritten.
Yeah, I think Jung talked about them in the collective unconscious, what it means to see a Funko Pop in a dream.
Do they have like an Aesop's Fables Funko Pop collection? I feel like they should.
They got them for everything. They have everything.
They got everything. All right, so Officer Hoover comes to meet him afterwards and says, all right, we're going to try it your way. Like, try to help us catch this guy. And they do, and they kind of do this a few times and build some trust. There's a scene somewhere about him realizing that Thomas is like his own private tornado. He like kind of talks to his uncle about like, what was it like for his parents? Like they were expecting a whirlwind having twins, and then they had Bruce, who was just kind of, relatively calm. So yeah, he's starting to think about Thomas as his own tornado. A lot of this book is now focused on Officer Hoover wants to send him after Jack Crowder, a senator. And I didn't care much about all this political stuff.
This got a little confusing for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you have to know is that he gets sent by the cop after this guy and then finds out that the opponent is actually the corrupt guy.
Yeah, that's right. And Officer Hoover is like really talking up the opponent and being like, hey, that guy's great. Like that guy's doing a wonderful job. He's going to win and he's going to be great for everything. But I'm sure this other guy, Jack Crowder, is corrupt. And I need you to go after him and figure it out, which is a lie.
Yes. And then, but then that guy wins anyway. And I'm seeing this book was published in 2017, 18, and 19, eh?
Yeah.
It is kind of funny because it is like, Batman, when you talked about Batman Forever, but the stupidest part of Batman Returns is that Batman plays a recording of the Penguin saying that he's going to play the city of Gotham like a fiddle from hell or whatever. And they're like, hey, he's not on our side at all. And that
you mess with one Gotham at night, you mess with all of us.
They immediately turn on him and he doesn't win. Whereas, as we know, living in the world we live in, he would just win anyway. And they'd be like, actually, that was doctored by Batman.
Yeah. Yeah,
our president spent his entire last month singing Kyrie Eleison and talking about Arnold Palmer's dick. Nobody cares anymore.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going, please.
It's just whatever. But I do think this is a specific of like Batman in the real world would not be effective to be like, hey, this guy's corrupt, and you're like, yeah, I guess I don't know.
Yeah. No, the actual corrupt guy wins. I think that his political campaign is like, yeah, we lost like 5 or 10 points, but it was still plenty, and we were still fine. And so Bruce feels terrible. He's like, all that work, and still we lost. He does go after Hoover. after he realizes the connection and dumps him, like throws him off a building into a dumpster, has Batman do all that and breaks a leg and 3 ribs. Um, Bruce feels bad. His world is just kind of worse off, and he'd helped it happen. That's what he's saying. Um, and he is going up to the roof. Robin and Alfred are all worried about him. They run up to the roof after him, and they see him kind of like jump off the roof and like merge with Batman and fly away. Is that what happened? He like merged with Batman, yeah?
Yep.
Cool. All right. So on to part 4. Bruce's apartment is a wreck. Robin comes by to help him clean up. He asks for coffee, and she's like, "Oh, we're out." And he's like, "Oh, I'll go get some." And he jumps off the balcony and turns into Batman again. And so she says this is now 2 years later. It seems like she's aware of this and kind of used to it at this point. And we jump back in time to the moment where they found out, and Alfred had a heart attack, his biggest ever. He'd had some before, but he still did not die. Um, Robin's in the hospital with him, and Bruce comes in as soon as he hears. She tries to ask about everything, and he kind of like, once Alfred wakes up, he explains everything to Robin and Alfred and talks about how it's Thomas. Alfred blames himself for all of this, but Bruce is like, no, you couldn't have helped. Bruce leaves, and Alfred asks Robin to take care of him, gives her whatever promotions and authority she's going to need to like watch over him. Bruce is like just feeling bad. He's goes to visit his childhood home. He's just thinking about how every time he tries to help, it turns ugly. He gets into a fight at a bar. He gets arrested. He's like constantly getting arrested. This is like the umpteenth time he's been arrested. Gets bailed out by Robin. Makes the papers again. She suggests that he should see a doctor. He kisses her. Dumb move, Bruce. That was not.
That was gross. He knew her as a child.
You strongly misread that situation, Bruce. She's like, all right, you want to make it up to me? Go to a doctor. The doctor tells him, hey, this bat, like he kind of tells everything, but not everything to the doctor. And the doctor's like, hey, this bat creature is a defense mechanism, but it's not protecting you. It's holding you back. Wish fulfillment fantasy that you created, but it's still angry and it's grieving like a child would. And he gives him a prescription. He gets the pills. He's worried that they might kill Tommy or break his connection with him, but he takes the pills. Talking to Alfred and Robin later, he feels groggy. He decides he's going to stop taking them as an experiment. And he wants to... He's like, this all kind of moves a little quickly, but it's all him talking to himself and just being like, God, I want to talk to Tommy. How could they want to kill Tommy? It's a lot of him talking himself into circles and kind of descending into madness a little bit. Robin feels weird. She feels like she's spying on one of her bosses for the other boss. And they've got PIs following him, but Alfred is like, we should have them back off and give them some air. Robin comes down to the basement where Bruce sometimes goes to be alone. He's got one of those big old conspiracy maps on there. He's talking crazy about how there's something here and how they've all been controlling this.
It's got that Pepe Sylvia, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Pepe Sylvia, yep. Pepe Sylvia with the ropes.
Yep. And this is all private, so she shouldn't even be allowed down here because needs to be able to investigate his own company. What could be so important? And she came to tell him that Alfred's dead. Oh no. And at the funeral, Bruce is still muttering to himself that he's on to them. It's all part of their plan to keep him grieving, so we can't get to the bottom of it. He tells Robin to get out of town for a while so that she can be safe while he fixes things. And she's like, you need to go see a doctor. And he runs off. He considers taking the pills, forgetting it all. And he kind of sees visions of Batman's rogues gallery taunting him about it. But he throws the pills off the roof. He's looking at everyone who's connected to this big thing. Who benefits? And he realizes that every single crime, Gordon Hoover was connected to all of them. And they told him he's retired now or whatever. But he goes to his home, fucking blows up a wall as he enters, yelling his name. Robin is driving around after him. I don't know how she found this home, but she shows up, and I don't know why Hoover is still alive either, and he's just there lying in the rubble. And tells Robin like that she's crazy. He was talking about like how I'm connected to all of my cases, old cases, but they were just random for me. Those were like Batman's cases that he was dealing with. And like he's going to the Franklin Park Zoo for some reason. I don't know. Also, he can control the weather now. He's like Storm. He casts a tornado on the zoo. That's cool. That's cool. Robin's like, I don't. It's like if we've got her narrating. She's like, I don't know why I felt like I had to be there, but I needed to be there to help. There's like animals running free. Rogues Gallery taunting him again. He's going crazy. Robin's telling them, use your brain. Who is there? Who wants Tommy dead? Who are you talking about? He kind of wakes up. Batman hands him the pills. Whoa. Then we fast forward in time a little bit. He's better now, taking medication regularly. He started seeing Sharon from college again. Robin is dating someone at work. She's still running the sponsorship program. He is dropping Sharon off at work, and Batman is still talking to him, asking if he's safe. And he goes, so far, yeah. And that's how we end. All right, that's it. The end. So it was just a ghost. Is that right?
Yeah. It was the ghost of his brother.
Are we sure that it was his brother? Because he's still.
The DC Infinite has like Busiek's pitch. So like the book is basically a child's manifestation of it's not fair. Life is not fair.
Yeah.
And like trying to make things fair in like a child's way, and then like a kind of like 20s guy way, and like just not processing it. I mean, like the fact that like everything circled around Gordon Hoover, the guy who couldn't solve his parents' case, like it's not fucking fair, and he's the center of all of it. Like is very like, it's not explicitly literal, but it's very, you know, it's there. Like it's just Bruce Wayne lashing out at the concept of things not being fair, and trying and the ghost trying to make things fair and not really making things fair and making things like fucked up. It's also mental health, you know, hallucinations, dark passenger, you know, those kind of things, and like damaging your own life, and then being like, I don't want to take the pills because I think I'll lose my shine, or I'll lose what makes me unique, or, you know, people don't understand, like all of that. Like it's pretty textual there. It's an interesting take for that. Yeah, go ahead.
I do love the art of, like, as much as that conclusion didn't really wow me or anything, the art of like all of the like classic like 50s 60s style like Joker, Penguin, Catwoman like taunting him, and he's like, they're right here, they're the ones who are doing this, and Robin's like, there's no one here. Like I thought that was effective. That's the kind of thing that only works in comics. Like if you tried to adapt this into a movie or something, you'd be like, this is stupid. But because there's just like a ghostly Joker face, I'm like, I like that though. It's a cool drawing of the Joker.
Yeah. And I think overall I'm very happy that it was not the same, like, at all compared to the Superman one. Even though it is like nowhere near as good, you know, like I feel like the Superman one was just like incredible, and this is like, it's good, it's fine, it's interesting, but I'm not like, like Chris was saying, I'm not wowed by the ending. It just kind of happened. It felt so focused on one thing compared to the Superman book, which really did manage to, like, I feel like it did a lot more in its time. I don't know.
I agree with that. That's pretty much where the online reviews I saw were like, this is good. It's not as good as Superman's Secret Identity, but then again, like, few comics are. So, like, I'm not going to hold that against it necessarily.
Exactly.
It's not as good. But you're right. Like, it's not nearly as... It's way more focused, like, on one thing. Like, I feel like Superman's Secret Identity was, like, more sprawling over the guy's whole life, and, like, the different, like, extrapolations of how that played out in real life.
Yeah, and, like, for the Superman one, also, like, the actual origin, like, how did I get these powers, what is going on, took such a backseat to everything else that was going on. Whereas with this, it like can't. It is just 100% focused in terms of like, what the fuck is this thing, and like, because it is connected to his psyche and what's going on with all that. So it did have that different vibe in terms of all that.
I feel like if it had had like an old man chapter, I think it would have been more it would have been interesting.
Maybe.
I don't know.
We should have, instead of her being named Robin, she should have been named Carrie, and then Bruce could be like, actually, there is a Robin who's named Carrie Kelly, so you're still a Robin.
I don't understand that reference.
Carrie, she looks like the Robin from Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah,
the blonde, the girl with the short.
I don't remember that at all.
The first female Robin is Carrie Kelly.
I see. Okay.
From Batman, Return of the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all. Did we read Dark Knight Returns?
Mm-hmm. Have we not?
No. We held back like some certain comics that were like obvious choices to like pepper through the entire show's run. We've been running for 10 years now. Like we never done Watchmen, although I think like Watchmen we've decided has been covered enough.
Yeah, I've talked about Watchmen enough for other book clubs. I really don't need to do it again.
But like we've never done Dark Knight Returns. We never
check out Games My Mom Found. I was on that episode.
Okay. We never did like Why the Last Man, which is like a big comic for like a lot of us, and we never did that. What else? We haven't done like a lot of like monumental comics. We just realized we hadn't done the Death of Elektra, so we're like we should probably do that one at some point. So.
Yeah, we're talking about a lot of Frank Miller monumental comics. There might be something coming up next time that we haven't mentioned.
We are talking about Frank. We had a moratorium. We didn't have an explicit moratorium on Frank Miller because but we're like, I don't feel good about doing that one right now. But not like Warren Ellis. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I it's not as good as the other one. I like the art though a lot. I'm not unhappy I read it. I enjoyed the book.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't wowing. So
yeah. Anything else to say about it?
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. I loved the art. I wish there had been like Ed Brubaker and John Paul Leon doing Batman for like a year. Like that would have been so good. I don't think so, because he only did the like secondary Batman books.
Yeah, he would have been good on Gotham Central also.
He would have. Like his
art,
actually, I think
he's really clear in his figures too. I think I could have known who everybody was a little better in some of the issues of Gotham Central.
Yeah, the only Batman he did the Batman Incorporated special in 2013. He did 2 issues of Detective Comics in 2014. So yeah, it doesn't look like he ever did like Batman when it would have made sense for him to do it, honestly.
It doesn't look like he ever did really like a long run on anything, more than like a year on any book.
Yeah,
from what I could tell.
Which I mean, part of that could be his style, and I think Earth X is probably he probably did that the most of anything,
right?
Because he did all 13 issues of that. I mean, I know he didn't do the covers, but still, like, I don't think he did 13 issues in a row of anything else.
John Paul Leon did do some of the Captain America. I'm trying to figure out exactly what from Brubaker's run.
He did the issue from 2005. I think it was the issue with the Bucky clone.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Which is a very good issue. I think we like, even though it's a kind of a fill-in issue, it's still very good.
Yeah, I think that's the only time that Brubaker and John Paul Leon worked together.
Yeah, that's a shame. Because again, like if you could go back 20 years and be like, okay, we're to do a year of Batman stories with these guys. Like, it would look amazing. And again, if you gave someone like Ed Brubaker, just someone good to write him drawing it, it doesn't have to be Brubaker. That's just who I think of as like a very good early 2000s Batman writer. It could be whoever. But yeah, it's a shame. Again, the comics industry, very sad. He was super young. He was 49 when he died.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, excellent stuff. I would be down to just look at what else has he done that we haven't read?
The Winterman is the thing that I bought. I remember looking at.
He did the first year of Static. Basically, he might have had like 1 or 2 fill-ins.
We did Static. We did like at least 5 issues of that.
Yeah, he did the first year of Static.
Yeah, and he did Challengers of the Unknown in the 90s. Interesting. And from RoboCop. I bet that would have been pretty decent.
RoboCop?
Yeah. And I don't know what era of New X-Men, like from 2002, which I don't know if that was Grant Morrison's new X-Men or after Grant Morrison's run.
I think that's when Grant Morrison was on it.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
and some Ex Machina specials, also like the annuals.
Yeah.
He also did, which I remember from the '90s. He did the Further Adventures of Cyclops and Phoenix, which is a very fun series.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Peter
the
Milligan.
the origin of Cable, basically.
Oh, he did it. He did an issue of Moon Knight, which does also remind me. Did y'all find yourself thinking about Moon Knight at all reading this?
I did.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I know where you. Now that you say it, yes.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, interesting. and I kept reading. That's all I had on that. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, Moon Knight was less ghost focused in 2017. Right. I feel like now it's more because Khonshu is such a major character in Moon Knight the last 12 years. But yeah, the schizophrenia sort of part of it is definitely part of Moon Knight.
Yeah, I wondered if there was any ideas from that, but whatever. All right, so on to Thunderbolts number 19, starring Charcoal, the Burning Man. He's made of charcoal, but he can turn to diamond if he wants.
Fighting the people.
Using concrete textures for his background.
Those textures look so fucking weird. We'll talk about them when we get to them. They're so weird. All right, so the Thunderbolts are just doing what they can, stopping bank robberies, stuff like that. They're on the news. I really love this panel of Atlas on the news, just shaking a car and dumping the criminals out. Looks great. He looks so happy. But the man on the street opinions say still probably just a trick. Can't trust the Thunderbolts, and the team is feeling super dejected about that. Nothing they do makes a difference. Nobody trusts them. Hallie, Joel, she's listening to all this, and she finally explodes. She's like, I'm tired of being your cheerleader, telling y'all that you can do it. It doesn't even sound like y'all want to do it. Y'all just want to be rich. And she goes off crying in her own room. And T-Bolts are like, yeah, we've been putting a lot of pressure on her recently. And then they get a knock at the door, and they're like, what the hell? They're in a cabin in the middle of the woods in the Rockies or something. And it's a bunch of help. It's a bunch of teens looking for help from the Thunderbolts.
they're teens because one's wearing a Calvin Klein hat and the other one's wearing an "Oh my God, they killed Kenny" T-shirt.
That shirt. What? That's just what people wore.
So all the Avengers died, but that did not stop South Park.
That did not stop South Park. Nope. They are kids. This abandoned cabin used to be used as a makeout spot. But the Thunderbolts moved in. They've been watching.
2 guys and 1 girl. She's gonna have a great night.
But they are from a city named Burton Canyon that has been invaded by some sort of private army called the Imperial Forces. Y'all ever heard of the Imperial Forces?
Nope.
They've
got Hydra colors though, green and yellow, or golden yellow, or golden green. I'm sorry.
I looked them up. They did exist in the past. They were in some Captain America comics in the 70s.
Classic Buse.
Of course.
Yep. But these kids are telling us that these Imperial forces are backed up by some kind of giant monster. They showed up, corralled everyone in the city to the town square, told them they're not U.S. citizens anymore. They're all prisoners. And these kids escaped through the sewers.
Wait, They revoked their citizenship?
Correct.
So to what end? I understand that sounds intimidating, but they're going to be these clean people aren't actors of the United States of America. So I don't understand. No. That's just like a hat on a hat. You're going to be in a forced prison camp. That's forced labor camp. That makes sense. That's fine. But you don't have your citizenship either. Oh shit! Now we're fucked.
Yeah.
They're also not doing any sort of labor camp. They're just keeping them all locked up in a room. Right? We see that later, but all right. Yep. They're all just prisoners. So Songbird and Moonstone kind of don't believe the story. They're like, if it was AIM or Hydra or something, but Imperial forces? And Alice is like, well, hey, our own story is kind of hard to believe too. People don't trust us. Let's ask Joel. And Mach 1 says, hey, we should stop putting so much pressure on her. Let's make a decision without her. So they do decide to go. They get Joel to come with them. They're checking out this.
We made a decision without you, so you don't have to think. Just come along with it.
Just come on.
You do see her in the background. She is like seeing that they're making the right decision.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. She's like listening to what's going on, all that. They are kind of getting like approaching the city, but Atlas has an idea. They're gonna approach as civilians in a car. Moonstone's gonna kind of separately do her own thing while the other four just drive in. Jolt is happy with everything, happy with this plan until she realizes that Mach 1 stole the car. And he's like, well, we're just borrowing it. We're going to give it back. They get stopped by a cop who's a very suspicious cop and radios back to say there's visitors coming in. Whole place looks like a war zone, very destroyed. And the car gets zapped by Charcoal, the Burning Man. Not like destroyed. He zaps like in front of them. He introduces himself. And he says that they're all prisoners too. And, some of these Imperial Forces guys grab them, toss them in the room with all the other prisoners. They ask questions and stuff. They don't get too much info, but they're like, all right, we got what we need. And they signal to Moonstone, who phases up. And the people are, like, recognizing them, like, hey, what does Thunderbolts? How can we trust you? Songbird is pissed. Like, you don't have to trust us. We're gonna do everything. All you have to do is run. So the T-Bolts fly out, start fighting everyone. Charcoal comes in. Is when we learn he can change to any form of carbon, from coal to diamond.
Wow. I do love Moonstone just phasing up with like all their costumes in a big sack.
Yeah.
It's a quality panel.
It is good. It is good. Let's see. They have some pretty nice teamwork during the fight. Abe kind of has a good idea. His suit is still a little messed up, but he's able to kind of like do some good tactical stuff with everyone. Not enough to take down Charcoal, but he's doing all right. And they all kind of do this round robin approach, and it's working pretty well. They're kind of fighting as a team. The Imperial Forces are talking about retreating now. Like Charcoal's our muscle, and he's like not winning right now, so maybe we should get out of here. And then right as they're about to win, the Masters of Evil show up during the fight. And they also destroy that card. They borrowed Hoops. And they're saying, you don't get to play hero. You've got to decide if you're going to join us or if you're going to go down. You don't get to do this wishy-washy stuff in between. We do see Charcoal kind of slink off while they're talking. And the Masters of Evil are like, all right, we're going to go. We got to make some more money, but we're going to be back. So have an answer ready. And Jolt is there like, oh, God, we were doing so well. And, like, now everyone's going to slide back into their own ways after this. But, no, Songbird is pissed. They're like, we had the fight won. The Masters of Evil can't do that to us. And Moonstone is saying they can't push us around. The Thunderbolts are going to push back. They are, and Jolt's happy with it. Cool. So, yeah, interesting issue. I want to talk more about Charcoal, the Burning Man, because... This guy's terrible.
Don't worry, he'll come back.
He will come back. I'm going to spoil some stuff later.
I'm reading about it right now because how often does this wizard create a villain show up?
He comes back and he joins the Thunderbolts.
He's a regular character.
He joins the Thunderbolts. Then they kill him off later. And then, I don't know if they were maybe going to bring him back, but there was some, rights stuff with this character because it was from Wizard. Because Wizard, they didn't get the prize money.
No, they also didn't officially lock down that Marvel owned the rights to the character.
Oh, my God.
Which is probably a Marvel cock-up, because when this is, 97, 98, Marvel's, going through bankruptcy. They're not fucking smart.
Yeah, 1998, so yeah.
Yeah, they didn't stipulate no, Marvel owns this character outright. No one wrote that down anyway.
Yeah, nope. You're not gonna see Charcoal in the Thunderbolts movie, I don't think.
Nope, they tried to see if they could get the human alter ego of Charcoal, the Burning Man, which I guess Busiek and Nicieza create.
Right.
Charles Burning.
Why would you want that? Charles Burning Man?
Why would you want Charcoal, the Burning Man? Were there other? Was this a sweepstakes? Was this a bunch of different unsolicited villains?
So there was supposed to be some prize money to go with it from Wizard, but Wizard never paid it out, which spurred the winners on to doing a lawsuit or something to
Amazing.
So I think it was a mess all around from both Wizard and Marvel sides. But he does, depending on how long we keep reading the Thunderbolts, he will come back and he will be a character. For a little while. That's it. Well, yeah, just bizarre. But I do imagine that a part of me was wondering, like, all right, was it in the like creative villain thing that he worked for, like Charcoal works for the Imperial forces, and so he like had to write that in there. But then I was like, I looked it up, I was like, no, that's just Busiek being Busiek.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think it's just literally a drawing of like, yeah, he's like a charcoal man.
like I just wonder how much they created and how much they were like, how much do we have to put in this comic? Did they have to put in that line about like I can turn from charcoal to diamond? I feel like that was like the one power they mentioned, you know?
This is a
I don't
villain
know.
created by Hank Hill. He cooks meat unevenly.
Well,
That's
so my
pretty
question though is like, also, is this like a sweepstakes where they just drew a winner out of a hat, or were there was Wizard given like literally thousands of villains to choose from, and they chose Charcoal the Burning Man?
Good question.
I bet they were given hundreds and they picked him for whatever reason.
Yeah, I feel like it was like they did look through stuff and looked through something that was like, all right, okay, here's my actual guess. They took all the ones that were like, we can actually use these, and actually did like a drawing out of those because they were like, these are all basically the same and none of them fucking matter, you know?
Right. And there wasn't like a little fine print, I guess, at the bottom of like all of these are now any submissions you make are property of Wizard Magazine or Marvel Comics.
There should have been. That's what there should.
America's Funniest Home Videos has that shit. Like this is now ours.
Yeah.
In perpetuity. I'm very curious. I want to find this page, like what the contest looked like.
I'm like looking for an actual. Yeah.
This is very.
I don't. It's crazy.
The thing is it was probably a bunch of idiots writing a magazine, not thinking that far out. Is probably what it was. Because I would have been writing a magazine like this if they had been around 10 years later.
Yeah. All right, you keep looking. I think we're done with Thunderbolts. I'll talk about our next episode while you keep looking. We got Thunderbolts number 20 coming up. I got no idea what's in store for the Thunderbolts anymore at this point. It's been so long since I read these. We got every Thunderbolt with the Masters of Evil on the cover. It's probably something to do with them. All right. What else are we doing next time? Oh, back to some Marvel. We're reading Wolverine. It's classic Wolverine. Oh, that's right. We teased it earlier by Chris Claremont with art by Frank Miller. How often have we done anything that's art by Frank Miller but not written by Frank Miller?
Because we didn't do his Daredevil run until he started. He was writing and drawing.
Yeah. Oh, well, the classic Wolverine, first volume of Wolverine, just a 4-issue miniseries, 1982. Chris Claremont, the godfather of the X-Men. Do people call him that? That sounds about right.
Yeah, the cover. You know the cover.
You know the cover. This is also the run where he like gave Wolverine all that Japanese backstory kind of stuff. Explored that.
We already knew he spoke Japanese and that he was a huge weeb, but now we learn even more of it.
We get to see Wolverine in his Weebo element. Weeborine? Does anyone call him that? Weeborine?
Just like that, the movie The Wolverine, which I think is a pretty underrated X-Men movie franchise movie. It's not the best, but it's like I would say the top third of X-Men movies.
I mean, that's faint praise, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's X-Men 2, Logan,
I like
Days of Future Past,
First Class, yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it as far as like ones that are like B tier. So I would put the Wolverine right after those.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. So we're doing that's everything we're doing next time. Vince, did you find anything?
I did not. I gave up.
Yeah, me neither. I'm giving up.
But I did. I forgot. Like when we were talking about R.I.P. Peter David, I forgot we meant Spider-Man. We always forget like their biggest credit. Spider-Man 2099. He created Spider-Man 2099.
Oh yeah.
And we did cover him for the show because he did the murder of Jean DeWolf Spider-Man.
Oh, he wrote that
storyline,
and he did the Maestro Hulk comics also.
Yes. So we have covered quite a few Peter David books, just not X Factor.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would plug his Spider-Man 2099. We read the first 5 or 6 issues of that. Really enjoyed it. He picked up back with the 2099 a couple times in the 2010s, and they were totally fine comics. Totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Spider-Man 2099 in the Spider-Man world. I thought that worked surprisingly well.
Yeah, it did. That was because he got transported to the modern Marvel Day comics, and he was like trying to stop Alchemax from being created. It was really good.
Yep. Also, maybe controversial opinion, but Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, done pretty dirty by the Spider-Verse. As much as I like the second movie, they really don't do that character justice.
That's an accurate statement. One of the few missteps I think of that series is how they did Spider-Man 2099. But yes.
Gosh, I'm realizing I still haven't watched that second movie.
Good.
I never did. Totally forgot about it.
Well, you got 2 more years until the final part comes out.
Okay.
You got plenty of time to catch up. It is a very good movie. I like it, but I do think the Spider-Man 2099 stuff is kind of the worst part of it.
It just hit Disney Plus, by the way, if you have that.
Okay. I mean, 2 years, I could probably watch like 15 seconds a day.
Yeah. It's a long movie. It's like a 2.5-hour animated movie. It's long.
Oh, all right. Like 30 seconds a day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Watch the Gwen Stacy part first, and then set it aside.
Okay.
And then watch the Spider-Man part. That's the next 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited. All right. Plugs time. What do we got to plug? Chris, what's going on?
We took a week off last episode, but coming next episode, I can plug something that will be out the week after this, which we have not recorded. So this confirms that we have to do it. We will be finishing my the things I bought for like $1 at DVD sales from Half Price Books or somewhere with the Love Guru.
Yay!
Wow.
We might have a special guest as well.
And that special guest is me. I'm very excited. I'm back. I've served my time. I'm back from dissing Batman Returns 10 years ago, way back in 2015, and I'm here to defend The Love Guru as a movie that I like. The Love Guru, actually, I do.
Oh my god!
I thank you for your reaction.
Have you watched it yet, Chris? I haven't watched
I've seen The Love Guru before.
I've never seen it, and I know how wrong Vince is. What are you talking about?
Like, I'm a big Mike Myers comedy fan, and like literally, like after Love Guru, I'm gonna spoil my thesis here. After Love Guru, like they don't let him make movies anymore. So there's like it's like Wayne's World, So I Married an Axe Murderer, like 3 Austin Powers movies, and then Love Guru. And so like it's definitely not as good as like the rest of the Mike Myers movies, but it's still like, oh, well, at least I get a few of these terrible Mike Myers jokes that I enjoy. Although I did like the Pentaveret, his Netflix show from like 5 years ago. That one was fun too.
I mean, he made the Cat in the Hat and the Love Guru in pretty. I guess they were a few years apart, but I'm like, you make those 2 movies, and you're lucky.
You're straight to jail.
Yeah, you're allowed to walk the streets.
They're just now allowing him back on SNL. Yeah, it's a time. Yeah, so come check out me and Chris. We're and Nick, who's been on like our All-Star Batman and Robin episodes. We're gonna be doing Your Stupid Minds, Love Guru. We haven't recorded it yet though, but it'll be fun.
They're making a Shrek 5?
Dude, Puss in Boots 2 is so good. It's such a good movie.
All right.
But why make more Shrek then? Make more other things that aren't Shrek.
Yeah, that's true. Shrek 5 Ever After. I still never saw Shrek 3 or 4, so I don't know.
Maybe they're great.
I sincerely doubt that. But
oh, hold on. We got news this week that Mike Myers' name was dropped in the Diddy trial.
I think he's a good guy though. I think he's.
Oh, okay.
I think he made fun of Diddy parties at that time or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, look, everybody knew about this. This wasn't like a revelation. I think that's what my understanding is. It's hard. There's a lot. I don't want to say any Diddy allegations.
He appeared with Kanye West.
I remember that. That was my favorite. Yeah. Oh wait, he actually appeared with Kanye West on SNL.
No, it was Keenan playing.
Okay.
Kanye, and he's like, "You're trapped."
I was
gonna
say that.
And Mike Myers was like, "Oh no."
I think that is one of the greatest reactions to anything I've ever seen. Is Mike Myers reacting to Kanye West. Like that's classic. I'm never gonna forget that as long as I live.
That was the greatest performance he gave in the year 2008.
Yeah. All right, so make sure you check out the Your Stupid Minds podcast to hear Chris and Vince repeat all that again.
Yep.
Chris, I mean Vince, you have anything separate to plug?
No,
or
but
is it just gonna be that?
Do that and read some Spider-Man 2099. That's my recommendation.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say I don't remember what I plugged last time, but make sure you watch The Rehearsal season 2. Really, The Rehearsal season 1 is like the greatest show of all time. Season 2 is really good too for a different reason, but they're both great. Watch it all.
I need to get caught up. There's so many good shows, but I loved season 1, so I'm excited.
And it's only like 6 episodes. You can handle it.
I watched the episode where he did the eye test, and I had the exact same. My wife made me take that test before, and I failed it just as bad as Nathan. It was quite surprising.
Yes, yeah. Good stuff. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Vince, I love you.
Love you too, buddy.
Chris, I love you.
There's some kind of demon that's manifesting outside my window. I guess I love you, Kia. Don't kill me, demon. What I guess in this world you're able to manifest this Batman.
Oh, I see. Yes, I am able to manifest. This is
only the ghost, Kia's evil ghost, compelled him. That's the only way to make it fair. Okay. After all these episodes.
Yep.
I love it.
I had a twin. Named Thomas, actually. I don't know, Thomas and Kirash. We were. I wish I could have known him. All right, listener, we love you too. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.